computer.
I got a notification this morning.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You are at your limit.
All right. All right. So here we go. We're live. We're recording. Hopefully that part of it will work. And we appreciate all you guys for getting on here. This is going to be pretty straightforward stuff, pretty simple stuff. But as you guys can see, you know, from just some of the pictures along the way in the headline. So we've been in the industry, for those of you that maybe, I'm not sure, I didn't pay exact attention. I know there was a ton of RSVPs from people, many of whom were actually not in our current community. So we'll just give a quick couple minutes on who are we, who are Ryan and Jolene, what are we all about, and then we'll dive into this content. But you can see there on the slide. So what have we done? What have we figured out to have the track record that we've had over the last 10 years in network marketing? It's allowed us to become top 1% earners in the industry and achieve the rank of Diamond Ambassador twice in 2 separate companies, starting from scratch both times. All right, and so we first really saw this industry in a proper light in 2008. We were kind of dinking around in 2007, and maybe we had started a little bit of personal development and a little bit of skill development for that first year, but we really didn't get drop dead serious until our circumstances forced us to in 2008. We probably should have taken it more seriously in 2007. Maybe things wouldn't have gotten as dire as they did by 2008. But as you've heard us, for those of you that do know us, you've heard us mention many times, sometimes our greatest blessings are found in the midst of our greatest adversities. And certainly, you know, that was the case for us, and is something that we wouldn't take back and wouldn't probably trade for the world now, because that compelled us to take proper advantage, to treat in a proper context the significance of the opportunity we had our hands on in 2008. You know, one of our mentors back in 08, 09, and 2010, an amazing man by the name of Henry Marsh, 4-time Olympian. Think about that for a minute, a 4-time Olympian. Folks, can you imagine staying at the peak of your athletic performance ability for 16 years, 4 straight Olympics? I mean, that's insane. That's really impressive. And as many athletes at that level have often said and will continue to say, the process at that point is substantially more mental than it is physical, right? They obviously have the talent and the physical capabilities, the athleticism to be performing at a peak level that's commensurate with being the best in the world. And so what separates them from the pack, it is mental. And he used to try to help the audience, and the community we were part of back in 2008 was huge, tens of thousands of people. And he used to take a lot of time at the key events and try to build the proper frame for people, to try to get people into a frame where they would have a mindset that oftentimes our circumstances don't dictate. For us, our circumstances dictated the same thing that this guy Henry used to try to do for people. And this will be relevant as we go into this information. You probably think, why is he taking so much time telling us this? Well, it's going to be part of like the next slide, and you're going to understand where I'm going with this. But he used to do this big walkthrough, if you will, and he'd say, imagine that you're on top of like a 50, 60 story building. You're way up in the sky, way up there, right? And one of the number one fears besides public speaking that people have around the world is fear of heights, right? And so he would say, so imagine you're up on the rooftop of like a 60-story building, and imagine, you know, you're up there and you need to get over to the building across from you. You know, would you walk across a tightrope, or would you walk across like a 2x4 to get over to that other building, right? And this would be audience participation. So those of you that we can see you on the camera, give me a nod of your head, yes or no. If you were on top of a 60-story building and you needed to get across to the other 60-story building, would you go across like a 2x4 to get there? Would you do it? Judge is not apparently scared of heights. Who else? Would you do it? Let's see. Nod your heads because your microphones are muted. So you guys got to nod your heads. Either yes,
Nancy
you
says
would,
no.
or no,
Mark
you
says
wouldn't.
no.
All right. Let's see.
Kathy's a no. Lindy's a no.
Some of you
Tara's
are
a no.
daredevils, man. Some of you are crazy. All right. Well, there's a lot of there's any more than one yes in an audience this size is surprising to me. There's a few of you that are saying yes. Listen. Okay, so most of you were no. Almost all of you were no. There was a couple of you were a yes. All right. So now I'm going to ask the question slightly differently. Same scenario. You're on top of a 60-story building. You need to get over to the other 60-story building, and all you have is a 2x4. But this time, the people you love the most, if you have a wife and kids, they're on that other building, and it's on fire. It's gonna burn down. There's no way they're getting down. You got to go and get them off that rooftop and over to the rooftop that you're on of the building that's not on fire. Now, would you do it? Changes things a little bit, doesn't it? Context and perspective changes things. Here's why he told that story. He credited much of his ability to maintain his performance at again, world-class levels, 4 straight Olympics, to being able to put himself in a frame of mind that was do or die every day. Don't want to get up, don't want to go train again. I've done this for 4 years. I've done this for 8 years. I've done this for 12 years, 13, 14, 15 years. I'm tired. I'm spent. I'm burnt out. I ain't got no time. I need to rest. I got this going on. I got that going on. This just happened. That just happened. Great, valid justification for interrupting my training regimen. A million legitimate reasons. Think about it. You've already been to the Olympics once, twice, right? 3 times, etc. I mean, how easy would it be to let yourself off the hook? And so he credited his ability to create the necessary frame of mind to keep moving forward and striving towards the next goal, the next milestone in front of him, to his ability to create a context, right? So I want you guys to remember that story when you're looking at your goals, your dreams in network marketing, your why. When you're thinking about those things, I want you guys to think about that for a minute now. Would you go from the 160-story building to the other just because? Probably not. Would you do it if people were depending on you, people that you love more than anything, if they were depending on you to get across there and rescue them and get them over to the safe building? Well, isn't that, quite frankly, a big part of what we're doing in building a network marketing business? Aren't there people, and I hope there are, associated with your why that if you don't go achieve it, they're going to potentially not live up to the life that they could have? I'm not going to say they would perish as if the building was actually on fire, but just like the Bible tells us, without vision, people will perish. Without a vision that gives you a context and the frame of mind you need to do what's necessary, you're not going to live up to your full potential. That's really what the Bible's talking about when it says that we'll perish. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to get hit with a Sodom and Gomorrah situation where instantaneously we're dust, but it does mean we're not going to thrive. And so you want to think about that. Like, who could thrive if you get your why achieved in your network marketing opportunity? Who is it that could thrive then? Because you'll have more resources, you'll have more time, you'll have more money, you'll have more relationships, more connections, more doors you can open. You'll have so much more that you can sow into the lives of other people, that sometimes that's a significant thing to help you have the right context about making sure you're getting the things done that you need to get done. For us, it was really easy. We were losing everything. We had, a family to provide for. We had our 2 daughters that we just couldn't, kind of dismiss. I don't have time today, or I'll get to it tomorrow, or we didn't have that luxury. In hindsight, we recognize that was a huge blessing in disguise. Not fun at all when we were going through it. In fact, it was horrific. However, in hindsight, that was a blessing. God will never give you more than you can handle, and sometimes he's going to push you to your limits to get you to the next plateau, to get you to the next place that you can grow into. Sometimes you're going to have to be stretched all the way to your very, very limits. In fact, sometimes what God needs to do is show you that your limits are broader than you thought they were. And that's oftentimes the exercise, right? Is that you need to be shown you're capable of more. And so what does this really have to do with? It's the first key that has allowed us to obtain the, the results that we have, first and foremost, we give all glory to God. Without his favor, without his blessings, without him strengthening us, like the Bible says, right? I mean, I'll tell you what, you want to talk about needing to lean on that Philippians 4 scripture, right? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Well, we had to. We didn't even have a choice. I mean, I think obviously we have to every day. Everybody that really knows the value of doing that every day, we try to remember to do it every day. But, sometimes your circumstances really necessitate that you really are doing that. And but from that point forward, it was about our attitude, right? And here's the one thing we knew, maybe largely because we were Bible readers, we were plugged into a church community, we had people around us that helped us believe this. But that first bullet point, we knew we did not have to allow our current circumstances to dictate our future. And hopefully you guys will write that down or take a screenshot of it or do whatever you got to do. But you need to know that's true for you. By the grace of God, we were able to stand firmly that was true for us, right? You have anything you want to add?
Nope.
To that?
Keep going.
So this made a big difference for us, right? We knew that we didn't have to allow our current circumstances to dictate our future. A lot of times people tend to give much more authority in their lives to their current circumstances instead of giving the authority to the promises for your future that God's already established.
So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what do you mean by that? Do you ever run into somebody who is constantly reliving their issues, constantly reliving their past, constantly reliving their past glory days, and oh, if it could only be so amazing? Those are people who are stuck in their past versus being so focused on your future that you're willing to do the daily actions to get you to your destination. So if you find yourself on any given day saying only if, you need to eradicate those words from your vernacular as far as it being a past tense saying. It needs to be a now when conversation.
So for us, here's what we knew. There were plenty of things on our plate at the time that we first really embraced this industry as being the vehicle that was going to get us to our dreams. It would have been very easy for us, like it is for so many others, to not fully utilize the vehicle, okay? Or to say that we're obligated to do other things in our lesser vehicle. So for us at the time in 2008, the lesser vehicle was real estate. Real estate was taking all of our time and giving us no money in return. It's really easy to get sucked.
It was taking a lot of money from us.
Right. It's easy to get sucked into the vehicle instead of recognize that it's about the destination, folks.
And also with your current circumstances. There's a lot of people that say, well, my current circumstances are, I don't even know if I can pay the electric bill or the water bill this month. The whole idea of your attitude to get yourself unstuck from the current situation that you're in. When we got started, we were facing those exact same dilemmas, but we knew the only way to get ourselves unstuck was no matter what we had to push off for another week as far as what bills were due, we were never, ever, ever going to forfeit our auto ship. Because if we forfeited our auto ship, now we call it LCP, then that would flush every single one of the points that we had earned and acquired. And that would have been like flushing our bank account down the toilet. So your current situation or circumstances may say that you have to shuffle things around, but you have got to adopt the idea that you are going to pay yourself first. And part of paying yourself first is making sure that your LCP goes through no matter what.
So attitude, again, this might seem like rhetoric. It might seem like it's more hype oriented so far, but it's really not, folks. Why do you think the greatest sports coaches in the world are focused predominantly on attitude, especially before game time? Well, listen, if you're trying to achieve your dreams every day, every morning is game time. Every day is game time. You have to establish the right attitude if you're going to go win. They get a pep talk before the game. They get a pep talk at halftime. right? Because attitude does matter. Think about the famous movie Facing the Giants. The guy that Brock was, 3 seconds before the coach told him he was going to do the death crawl, it didn't change. It wasn't no extra practice, extra drill, extra routine, extra skill set. There was nothing different other than the coach created a frame of mind for an attitude adjustment, and he had him do the death crawl. Brock thought he could go to the 40. But how far did he go?
To the 100.
Right? So attitude does matter. You guys are capable. Most of us are capable of so much more than what we're accomplishing, and the only thing that's limiting us is right here. It's the attitude that we have about ourselves, the attitude that we have about what we can actually get done, what we're actually capable of, the attitude we have about how we're prioritizing.
And something to think about is, what is the attitude that you currently have about money and what you deserve, what you think that you are worthy of, is overcoming that mental attitude that somebody else put into your head about, oh, well, you can only have so much.
Yeah, actually, let's touch on that for 1 second. Listen, as you guys are out building this business, if anybody comes back at you with the idea that you're too money focused and that money's not everything, shame on them. Let me tell you why. That is the most selfish statement in the world, because in the right hands, with the right heart and the right submission to what God wants to do in their lives, money is a powerful, powerful resource, folks, and there's no such thing as too much of it. Last time I checked, we still need money to dig wells, right? We still need money for these drills to send them over to Africa, and I could go on and on and on. There's a zillion humanitarian causes that could be furthered more rapidly with more dollars. And so shame on them, but don't you dare let anybody knock you off of your track when they come back at you and tell you money isn't everything and they're trying to shame you. No. Shame on them. This is part of this attitude thing. You got to know full well that they are 100% in the wrong. There's not even a millipercentile of accuracy to their statement, that the idea that it's not noble or worthy or justified or quite frankly even God's plan. I mean, I'm not.
It actually illustrates their own heart. It points a very, very clear heart of what they would do if they had a lot of money, because they're trying to put on you what they would do if they had that kind of money, so they themselves won't go out and get it, because they know that their intent would not be in alignment with yours. They cannot read your brain. They cannot read your heart. So do not withhold the blessing that God has placed in you, because you actually are a visionaire and are willing to go do something about it, because your heart is pure, your intentions are pure, and you know exactly what you're going to do with it when you have way more than you ever need to live on.
Yeah, if you're watching this Zoom training right now, it's because you have been given the eyes to see and the heart to receive, right? Many are called, but few are chosen. You've been chosen. You've already made that decision to move forward. You've already been chosen. Many are called, few are chosen. The person that comes back at you poo-pooing the idea that somehow life shouldn't have a factor that's about doing the best we can with our gifts and talents, and there's a monetary component to that, well, they're just not chosen. Keep moving, basically, right? That's when we go, all right, you're God
bless you, bye-bye.
Right. Hey, God's got a different plan for them. You know, this is going to sound really arrogant, but we also had a mentor who loved the Lord. Maybe, like, you know, the way he went about it sometimes wasn't always maybe the most conducive way, but that's not my place to judge. It's really not. But this guy was a champion for Jesus. And I'll tell you what, he used to say it like this: listen, God's got different plans for different people's lives. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad when people don't see this, because I still need someone to wash my car. I still need people to clean my house. I still need a tailor. I still need, you know, I need a mechanic. Listen, not everybody's going to be called to see what you see in this vehicle, right? And so don't let that rattle you. Don't spend your time.
And don't get defensive about it. Don't get angry at them. Just bless you. Awesome. High five. Right. Move on.
Which leads to the next bullet point here, right? It's never, for us, it was never a question of if. We didn't put conditions on building our business on whether or not a certain person said yes.
We weren't out whale hunting.
We didn't put conditions on our, you know, growing our business on some kind of timeline. Like, if I hit this income level by this date, then I'll keep going. If I hit this certain rank by this certain date, then I'll keep going. And if I don't, then this must not be for me. No, the only thing that's not for you is quitting. Somebody can write that down. I'll say it again. The only thing that's not for you is quitting, okay? And that's the bottom line. And so understand that when we made the decision to build our business, to seriously recognize that this is the vehicle that we've been blessed with, this is the vehicle that we're going to move forward and continue to strive for our family's dreams, it was a no matter what attitude. It was a no matter what attitude.
And do you have another bullet point here?
I do.
Oh, okay. Let's see what it is before I add mine.
There you go.
Okay. Nobody's better. Okay, perfect. So this kind of goes back to what we were just saying, but nobody is better than you. What one person can do, so can another. You know, when Ryan and I saw people going across the stage, when we saw this previous opportunity, we were watching them and we're like, well, hey, if they can do it, like, we're going to crush this thing, right? And the reality is that whatever one person can do, so can someone else. This is a monkey see, monkey do business. But you know what? So is life. And you can choose to follow whatever thing you want to follow. If you want to be negative and broke, follow your negative and broke friends. If you want to be wealthy and prosperous and optimistic, well, then find some folks who are wealthy, optimistic, and prosperous. Your attitude and who you choose to be in alignment with and seek out, and who you choose to actually walk away from.
Ooh, man, that's good.
Who you choose to walk away from. Now, I'm not saying that you got to unfriend all those people that you actually have long-term relationships for. But what I am telling you is there's an amazing feature on social media called snooze. That means you won't see their negative attitudes, but they'll still see all your positive stuff.
You've gotta be willing to leave the flock of ducks if you want to fly with the eagles. I mean, that's just the bottom line. You have to be willing to leave the flock of ducks. People that don't have a vision that's in alignment to yours, they're only going to hold you back. When you allow a disproportionate amount of your time, your energy, your emotional horsepower, your mental horsepower to go into maintaining or being immersed in those relationships, those are not the things that are going to take you to your full potential. You know, we could have stayed in certain places in our lives and in relationship with certain people that did not have a vision. And while it might seem harsh that you're maybe walking out on a relationship or distancing yourself, again, it doesn't mean we're hating people or turning them into our frenemies or things like that. But yeah, you might have to distance yourself from some people. But I'll tell you, had we allowed certain relationships to remain a priority in our life, you see this picture up here in the upper corner? That's just the hallway at one of the events where we're getting the chance to speak into the lives of, there's like almost 1,000 people there. We've been on now a Dallin Larson stage with 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people. Do you think if we would have stayed in a limiting environment for ourselves, where the attitude wasn't right, where the encouragement wasn't right, where the personal development wasn't right, who are we going to really have an impact on? The 2 people that we keep hanging out with that don't want to hear it anyway? Or are we having a greater impact now, speaking of the lives of thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, because we chose to take seriously the company that we kept, right?
Here's another thing on sifting and sorting the company that you keep and your attitude about it. You know what? There's a reason why convicts, when they get out of jail, they're not allowed to hang out with their old friends, because it got them into trouble in the first time. There's a reason why one of the first steps in any rehab project, right? If you are a recovering addict, they tell you, you cannot hang out with the friends who got you stuck here in the first place. The same thing is here. If you were trying to change the trajectory of your path, you must hang out with people who have an attitude of I get to, an attitude of I can, an attitude of we can do this together.
Yeah, you guys have heard this before, but your future potential is the sum total of the company you keep, right? It's often said, you know, the sum total of 5 people that you spend the most time with, or the 5 people that speak into your lives the most, or you know, your future potential is the combination of the people you hang out with, the books that you read, and the things that you say about yourself, right? Bottom line is that all basically points back to attitude. And I want to just revisit one thing that Jolene said, and we'll move to the next. There's only 3 keys that we're going to cover today, so this won't go on forever. But there's something so important that you guys need to understand on this key number 1, because it sets the stage for the next 2. You have to believe that no one's better than you. I know we already touched on it. Jolene said,
and there is nobody better than you. Nobody.
That's right. No one's better than you. We used to literally sit in those seats, and it wasn't of arrogance. It wasn't. It was just being willing to embrace the promises of what we know, that the trump card is what God says about you, not what you say about yourself and not what other people say about you. But things start to work a lot more smoothly when what you say about yourself comes into alignment with what God says about you. I'm just saying. We used to sit in the seats and look up on that stage and see black diamonds and royal black diamonds and imperial black diamonds and presidential black diamonds walking across the stage. And we used to be ornery about it. Like, that's our stage. That's our spot. That person's standing in my spot. You know, Dallin Larson's saying my name right now. And you guys need to believe that. Don't sit in events and be a spectator, and don't be someone who's sitting there hoping, right? Again, I know that this wasn't intended to be like a sermon, and I'm not going to apologize that the Bible is my point of reference. It's just who I am, so you're gonna have to go with it. If you don't like it, you can click off. I gotta be who I gotta be, the authentic me, and feed the people that are gonna be fed accordingly. But you know, I'll tell you that it was never a place of arrogance. We just really felt the truth that God's no respecter of persons. You know, we just really always felt that. We sat on that stage, and it wasn't that we weren't honoring the ones that were already on the stage, but we were just like, man, God's no respecter of persons. You know, you put your pants on in the morning the same way I do, one leg at a time.
And here's what I want to add to that. If you grew up in a household that constantly told you that you weren't good enough, then I'm going to ask you to change what we just said. There's nobody better than my kids. My kids deserve me winning so that I can provide the life that I want them to have.
Or my nieces or my nephews, if you don't have kids, or if you don't,
my church.
Yep.
My community.
Yeah, your why has to be tied to somebody else. If it's only tied to you, you're never gonna grow into the potential that you could in this business, because now you're making it about you, and that's not what we're called to do. That's not what this business actually is about. You have to perform and execute, but it can't be about you. That's why, again, why we're digging wells in Africa, right? Because it can't be just about us doing business for ourselves. And you got to know that that's going to be part of how you'll get past any limiting thoughts in terms of your attitude. When you start to make it about other people, that's going to pull you past the things that you're willing to let yourself off the hook for. Because you'll become less willing to let yourself off the hook for doing the activities you know you need to do when there are other people tied to you performing on a consistent day in and day out basis the income producing activities. So let's move on to the next one. So the next one's discipline. The first one is, okay, so you get your attitude straight. You embrace the idea that if anybody can do it, you can do it too. You get yourself dialed in on recognizing that attitude is everything. You figure out some ways, by the way, to intentionally feed your mindset every day. That could have been another bullet point on that last one, but you've got to feed your mindset. You can either feed it, junk by just letting the only thing that speaks into your life, the radio host on TV the host on the radio or the nonsense on TV, or you can get, again, very intentional about what you're feeding your mindset. Turn off the news. First of all, just turn it off. There's no value to you watching the news. Turn off the radio and turn your car into a rolling university, right? Turn off Pandora and get Audible. You've got to be willing to embrace the personal development journey and constantly, every single day be feeding your mindset the things that are going to keep you growing and moving forward. Were you going to say something?
I know. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first key to discipline is having a plan. Now you're going to see we kind of broken this down into some key parts. Failing to plan is the same thing as planning to fail. And in the category of discipline, the thing that is holding most people back from getting the results you want is that you're not managing your time accordingly. You're letting your build my dream time get stolen by my just get by time. You're letting my build a life by design time get sucked into just barely survive time. And you're gonna have to give something to get something, right? Let's just be straight up real about this. There's no free ticket. You're gonna have to give up something to get something. Could we have solved our problem in the short term a little more efficiently in 2008 by shelving our dreams for a while? Yep. Would that have been a tragic mistake? Yep. You got to remember, like it said in the previous slide, it's about the destination, not the vehicle. You've got to be willing to pay the price for the destination that you want to go to. And one of those things means that you're going to take some time from some things in order to give that time to some things that'll be more in alignment with your dreams, right? The definition of discipline, it's called your willingness to forego something you want right now in exchange for something you want more in the future. Hopefully you have heard that before. If you haven't memorized it, it's time. It's time for you to memorize that. You need to know that's got to be one of the things that is your compass in life. And it's your GPS.
When you start to do an activity, this is where Ryan and I really hit home on asking yourself before you engage in anything. Is this income producing? Will this get me closer to my why? Is my calendar already full? Because there's a lot of us out there that say yes to everything. And then we're on that perpetual hamster wheel because we're trying to be a people pleaser. Because we've always said yes in the past. We've always headed up the PTA thing. We've always been the meet director. We've always been the leader of children's ministry. We've always led the men's Bible study or the men's Bible group or whatever. Sometimes we must scale back and discipline our normal habits to achieve extraordinary results. If you want an extraordinary outcome, you must rein yourself in through discipline. Discipline is not a bad word. Discipline is derived from discipula, which means student. And a student, in order to learn, must adapt, adopt, and be structured with their decision making.
Woo-wee! We got some teaching going on right now, some discipleship, speaking of the word discipline. So anyway, you guys have read it already, right? But first you got to have a plan. You've got to figure out where you're going to get your dream building time from, your network marketing time, right? Where are you going to extract time? Because everyone's already using all 24 hours in a day. The worst thing that could ever happen is you decide to embark on a journey to build your dreams in network marketing, and then you expect that somehow mysteriously the time necessary to magically appear. It's not. You're already in a method of operation. You already have a modus operandi before day one in your network marketing business that has you consuming all 24 hours in a day. And if you don't get intentional about figuring out the plan for how you're going to make the appropriate allowance of time that lines up with your goals, your dreams, your why, it's just not going to happen on its own.
So here's a question for you guys, and I want you guys to nod your heads. How many of you guys would like to have a 5, 6, or 7-figure income with a part-time work ethic, part-time work for a 5 or 6 or 7-figure outcome? Do you think that you're going to get that with the exact same activity that you've been living your whole life with up until now? Let me rephrase. Do you think that you are deserving of a 5, 6, or 7-figure income if you are going to just keep doing your life the way that you're doing it right now? You have to decide what you really, really want and be willing to cut off the fat to get to the juicy meat.
Remember, discipline, the willingness to forego, meaning say no to, right? The willingness to forego something you might want right now in exchange for something you want more in the future. It's just a matter of getting your priorities straight, folks. but it's necessary. You've got to do it. Everybody's got to do it. It's one of the things that led to our success. Starting in 2008, it would have been far easier for me to go out and get a full-time 40, 50, 60-hour-a-week job. But we knew that that's like putting a Band-Aid on when you need a tourniquet. We were still focused on our dreams, on our why, on our destination. Why would I go choose a vehicle completely incapable of getting me there? Why would I go do that? Why would I go and now some people might go, that's foolish. That wasn't a good decision. That's irresponsible. I did what I had to do. I picked up part-time jobs. We went and painted houses together. Like we did whatever we had to do to earn side money to get by. Like we figured it out. We figured out a way to figure it out. But the last thing we were going to go do is voluntarily put ourselves in a spot that would limit our ability to be in the right vehicle for our dreams, because we gave up all of our time and put that into a vehicle that had zero potential to get us to our dreams. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. This next one now is going to be a really, really big one.
We embrace the fact that it is a numbers game instead of wasting time trying to convince people.
This is a numbers game, you guys. Building any kind of business, quite frankly, is a numbers game. And so is network marketing. Network marketing is like the ultimate numbers game, because when you get yourself in the right opportunity that has tools and systems into place, you just have to execute and let those tools work for you enough times a day, right? I could go out and I could be a carpenter and go out and buy the greatest skill saw in the world, right? And I could go get the best mentor to teach me how to cut the most accurately, the fastest, the quickest, right? I could take this the roofing direction, since our good brother Alan's on here right now. Like I could go get myself in the right situation, but if I go do one roof a year, did it really benefit me? Right? Like we can't avoid the fact that this is a numbers game, and that's what so many people do. They spend all this time and energy trying to recreate the wheel, reinvent the wheel. If I can learn to only do this better, I won't have to talk to as many people. If I can only improve my closing ratio, sorry, the ratios are never going to change. It's been between 1 and 10 and 2 out of 10 since the beginning of time, and it's going to stay that way. You're going to have to expose your opportunity to 10 people, and you're going to get between 1 and 2. Long-term average will be 2 out of 10. Sometimes in the short term, it might be 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 10, and then all of a sudden you'll get 3 out of 10, and it'll average itself back out. But you've got to embrace the fact that this is a numbers game and just go do the work. It is insane to me how many people just aren't willing to, again, embrace this. We get calls still all the time, and we love all of you guys, but man, everybody wants to find the new silver bullet that they think is going to allow them to circumvent the process. Folks, this is a 3 to 5 year plan. That's pretty much circumventing the process last time I checked. I mean, the process—
Much better than the 40-40.
The process is 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life to live 40% of your dream, if that. You're not even going to probably get 40% of your dream, right? So a 3 to 5 year plan to let you live your entire dream, full throttle, life by design, on your terms, no limitations of time or money. I'm guessing that's kind of the shortcut already. So why not just embrace that you've got the shortcut and do the numbers, do the work, do the activity?
So here's a question for you guys, because I know you guys are all going to resonate with what I'm about to say. There are many folks on here who have children, and over the course of their children being in school, they had fundraisers, right? You know, at Christmas time, you sold wrapping paper, and it was insane, absolutely insane, that they were given this fundraiser, right? And they were told you have 3 weeks to raise this amount of money, and all of those parents are like, yeah, let's go do this thing. And they know they're selling a $10 roll of wrapping paper, and their kid's gonna make like a buck on it, right? But they are gung-ho, they are out there and they are gunning for it, right? There's a reason why we build this in 90-day sprints. If you guys could deploy that same discipline of knowing you've only got 30 days at a time to get out there and tell as many people as you can about your opportunity, you get through the numbers faster, right? Because you got a goal you got to hit. When we have the luxury of having an invisible franchise like we do, we don't have to wait for people to walk into our store with a brick and mortar business. In a brick and mortars business, we got to sit in that store and pray that people pull it open and then buy something from us. We're praying, please, Jesus, let me get in the right location so that more people see the outside of my business and maybe walk in. Guys, we have great news for you. You are not relegated to your location. Woohoo! You can physically go out there with your flip chart, with your phone, on social media, in your neighborhood, in your community, and take your business to the people.
So we'll talk about this more in the next slide, but listen, a lever is just a multiplier of your outcomes, right? And so when you avoid the right activities in exchange for other activities, you're basically squandering your lever. You've got the greatest possible lever that you could ever imagine, especially if you are in our community. Again, I think there's probably some people, and this wasn't designed to try to be like a recruiting session. We want to try to add value to. We've got a lot of friends that are in the industry that are in different opportunities, and we're not here to turn this conversation into necessarily a specific dialogue about our current opportunity. You might want to look at our track record and ask yourself, why have we chosen the vehicle we have? But I'm just saying. And if you want to have that conversation offline, we can, because we've been doing this now full throttle for 10 years. We've been mentored by people that have. We've been mentored by 10 years full throttle. We messed around for the first year, different opportunity. We've had mentors that have done this for 3 decades and have far greater track records than we do. And so one of the things that we learned from our mentors was how to put ourselves in the right vehicle. And so, but anyway, I don't want to get going down that bunny trail, but let me just say this. Listen, even if you're in an opportunity that doesn't check all the same boxes that we required to choose the opportunity that we're currently in, even if you aren't, you still, in most cases, have a far greater lever than the conventional methods that are stuck in the E and the S quadrants of it. Hopefully you're familiar with the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you're not, you need to literally
study it.
You need to go on a reading binge for the rest of this weekend. Like, seriously, if you haven't read that book, I'll tell you what your plans are for the rest of the weekend. If you're serious about your success and your future, your plans for the rest of the weekend are to zip on down to your local bookstore, Barnes & Noble or whatever you got, to grab a copy of that book off the shelves and to spend the rest of the weekend reading it.
It's thin enough for you to get through in the entire weekend. It's a
simple read, but the principles in that book cannot be foreign to you if you want to properly understand the lever that you currently got if you're in network marketing. You have the most powerful lever economically compared to other facets of industry, of entrepreneurship that's ever going to exist. Again, even if you're not in our same opportunity, you still have a better lever. I'll just tell you that than the conventional methods for trying to live a life in the E quadrant or the S quadrant. So embrace the fact that it's a numbers game. Don't try to fight that, and just go do the do, okay? And don't squander. If you are in our community, the greatest component of our lever right now is the timing. I mean, we have 5 pieces, and we're going to talk about that in the next slide. But listen, the greatest multiplier right now for the particular lever that we have for those of you that are in our community is the timing, combined with obviously the rest of the pieces. But timing is the one that evades most people usually. Don't squander that. Just get out and do the numbers. Embrace this second one. Go get out and do the numbers. Okay. The third one in discipline, personal development. We already sort of touched on this. Making sure that you're learning every day on purpose, that you're being, again, disciplined with blocking your time. We're swinging at some really big goals, and we don't have a commute, for those of you that know us, right? We're full-time home-based entrepreneurs. And so I don't have a commute, but you know what I do? Twice a day, I shower. You know what I do while I'm showering? I'm listening to personal development. It's a discipline, right? I don't have a commute, but I work out at the gym. You know what most people do when they work out at the gym? They listen to music. Most of the time what I do when I work out, I listen to personal development because I don't have a commute. So my rolling university time, I've got to replace that with different methodologies that I can use to still make sure I'm doing my personal development, right? So you have to be equally as intentional about this as what we talked about on the first bullet point, right? A plan for how you will make the appropriate amount of time. Well, this fits into that. Personal development is non-negotiable. Wherever you are today, this is gonna sting for some people, but it's true for us too, and we're just choosing to embrace it. So please don't take this the wrong way. I'm not shooting on you. This applies.
We are shooting on you.
This applies to Jolene and I.
Absolutely.
This applies to Jolene and I as much as everybody else. We're just embracing it, not fighting it. But wherever you are right now, you're limited by how much personal development you've done. And I don't care what your track record is. We have a great track record too, but we're not satisfied with our current track record. We're not trying to live on yesteryear. We're trying to go somewhere today and tomorrow. We want to help more people in the future. We want to do bigger things. Look at, in our current opportunity, if Dallin Larson's can write somebody $1 million a month check, and trust me, there will be 7-figure monthly checks. Why not me? That's our attitude. Why not us? Why not you guys?
The only thing that is stopping it is the work that we are willing to do.
So listen, every single one of us, ourselves included, you are where you are right now relative to your levels of personal development. Maybe there's certain things in terms of habits, making excuses, not being disciplined with how you're using your time, living on what we did yesteryear. You know, there's a zillion different things we can chalk it up to, but for each and every one of us, it's going to be different. But every single person right now in your network marketing business, your outcome on this week's commission check is in direct proportion to your current level of personal development, regardless of what your track record is, okay? Same thing holds true for us, and we're not satisfied. I am not even remotely satisfied. I'm appreciative. I'm grateful. I'm not content. Grateful? Absolutely. Humbled? Absolutely. Praise Jesus? Absolutely, for the check we got last week. Content? Satisfied? Heck, no, not even stinking close. And so what does that mean? It means I've got to grow more. Jolene and I are embracing that. Most people fight it. And so,
it's never been easier to grow. It hasn't. I mean, you can YouTube anything. You can YouTube how to do anything. So if you say, well, I'm not good at that, shame on you, because all you have to do is Google it. And there's going to be something out there that will tell you how to do it. Most of the time, it's going to be on a video on YouTube.
So I probably should have phrased this last bullet point a little bit differently. So everybody write down the word implementation right now. Write it down, implementation. This last bullet point should have included the word implement. It should have read like this. New levels of accomplishment will always require implementing new skills and vocabulary. I'll say that again. New levels of accomplishment will always require implementing new skills and vocabulary. You can learn all day long till you're blue in the face and you're a walking almanac, but if you don't implement what you've learned, you might as well not even spend the time learning. And so implementation is everything. Forgive me. We will probably do this, a session similar to this again, because I know a lot of people have not logged on here that had RSVP'd, and that happens. It's normal. Life happens. They need the content that we shared today, so we'll do this again. And I'll make sure I correct my typo so that the word implement is part of this particular slide. So you got anything you want to add?
Oh, I was just going to talk about vocabulary. You know, there are two sets of vocabulary to build in network marketing. And the easiest one that all amateurs choose is to learn everything about the product. To learn everything about the product and all these new exciting words of exactly what glutathione is and what CoQ10 will do for you. That's the easy way out. But when you take the easy way out, then you are only going to be speaking to about 10% of the population who are actually going to take their health serious enough to actually listen and understand what those ingredients are going to do for them. And you are also limiting your pool of who will do this with you for people who are excited about the newest health trend. And as soon as that health trend is over, then they leave you and drop you like a hot potato and move on. Now, 90% of the population will always respond to, would you like to have a full-time income on a part-time basis? Would you rather learn to speak to the 90% or work on only the 10% of the population? By speaking to the 90% of the population, you are increasing the stock of fish that are hopefully going to bite your hook and join you. So keep that in mind with the track and the vocabulary that you're going to spend the most time developing.
Yeah, this will be an entirely separate training. But again, for the people that are on here, no matter what network marketing opportunity you're in, okay, please embrace this. You're not in a retail-driven business. I don't care what network marketing company you're with. Do the math. Get out your calculator. Understand your comp plan. First of all, you can't be in business if you don't understand how you get paid. So you have to know your comp plan and do the math. There is not enough retail margin for you to ever, you would need to, you just can't. I can't even give you a you would need to. It's not the business model was not designed for you to make the kind of money that will buy you your freedom off of retailing product. You need to understand that. It's just mathematics. It's not Ryan's opinion. It's not Ryan being a jerk. You have to understand the math. You have to take, what does it cost to buy your freedom, right? Let's just call it 6 figures, because nowadays it's pretty hard if you have a family, really difficult to extract yourself from a life-sucking job. No, maybe you love what you do.
We're partial.
I'm totally teasing.
We're partial to freedom.
You might love what you do, but my guess is, like me, you probably love freedom even more, right? But seriously, whatever your freedom costs you, maybe it's $50,000 a year, maybe it's $25,000 a year, man. My hat's off to you. That's awesome. That's a skill set, by the way. Reducing the cost of your freedom is another training we'll do, because that's a skill set. You got to play really good defense when you want time freedom from a residual income vehicle. The better you get at defense, the greater peace of mind that you're going to have. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But listen, you've got to know what you're aiming at. Take what it costs to buy your freedom, call it $50,000 a year, work it backwards through your comp plan, and figure out how many retail transactions you would need in a month to get to that level of income. I'm telling you, you're going to find it next to impossible. It is next to impossible for you to make that math work in your favor. What is the industry designed to do? It's called duplication. You need the leverage that comes from duplication. Who duplicates? People that are just looking to get a product result because that's all you shared with them. They don't have a mindset to duplicate. People that strongly desire to have a life that gives them a more than full-time income on a less than part-time basis, guess what? They'll duplicate because you talked to them in a language with a vocabulary that touches the correct motivation of the activities you need to have the level of leverage and income you need to arrive at your freedom. So you have to understand you're setting up the outcome from the get-go based on the conversation you're having. And I think a lot of people would change the conversation you're having if you invested some time to understand your comp plan. You have to. You cannot run enough retail transactions through a network marketing comp plan unless you're superhuman and you figured out how to work 36 hours in a day and not ever sleep, eat, drink, or do anything else. And maybe somehow, now how do we get our 36 hours out of a day? Through duplication, right? Jolene and I have the productivity of about 1,000 hours a day right now from our current organization. 1,000 man hours a day is how much productivity is happening in our current network marketing business. That's not possible to do by ourselves. How did we do it? Not retailing product. We did it by duplicating, right? So you have to learn to recruit people that want the financial outcome so that they can enjoy, again, the context we often put it in is the ability to enjoy a life with a full-time income on a part-time effort, on a part-time level of effort. And now they duplicate. And nowadays, if you're in a decent network marketing vehicle, please don't take this the wrong way. Again, we've learned a few things. If you're not in a hybrid comp plan, we probably should talk because you're not being fairly compensated and fully leveraged. Bottom line is you need to be in a hybrid comp plan that has both a binary and a unilevel. In a binary, you can get massive amounts of leverage very, very rapidly, but you still need the unilevel component to it because you don't want your income capped. And again, I'm not going to turn this into a comp plan training, but if you're on this Zoom training today and you want to talk and just bounce some questions off of us about how to properly, kind of dissect your comp plan, we would be more than happy to help you out with that. So personal development, last one, guys. There's only 3 keys to this whole thing that we, quote, figured out that have allowed us to have the success we have. Again, if you got on a little bit late and maybe you're not totally familiar with who we are, we're Ryan and Jolene Doktorczyk. We go by R.Dok and J.Dok in our community. We've been full-time network marketers for 10 years. In that time, we've done something that's rarely ever accomplished in this industry. We've achieved the rank of Diamond, which is a top 1% income level in the industry worldwide. We've done it twice in 2 separate companies from scratch both times, folks. It's not because we got lucky. It's because we honed in on the 3 keys that we're sharing with you today. All right. And so we already covered the first 2. Let's talk about the 3rd one, last but not least. And you do have to be in the right opportunity. Okay. And so what does that mean? Well, in our opportunity, we talk about a 5-star opportunity, and regardless of what opportunity you may or may not be in, there are 5 things you got to have. All right. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of our opportunity, but let me tell you what the 5 things are. And you can try to, as objectively as you can, filter your current opportunity through this criteria, because I'm telling you, this isn't because our current opportunity told us to talk about this. We're in our current opportunity because we learned this before we ever joined our current opportunity, right? So you need to understand that. We chose our current opportunity, right? Because we learned this prior to, all right? And so don't think that for a minute that we've drunk some Kool-Aid that has now compelled us to talk about this context of these 5 components simply because that's what we do in our current opportunity. We learned these things many years ago, almost a decade ago. And that's part of what went into our decision to be in our current opportunity, because this is a non-negotiable scenario. There's 5 things you got to have. You have to have leadership at the corporate level that has a track record, that knows what they're doing, that has a vision that benefits you, by the way. If their vision is to grow up a company and sell it, you need to think twice about if that fits your vision, right? Unless you're a major shareholder in that company's stock, probably not good for you. If the vision of the people running your current company have the intent to sell it because they're still trying to get their first financial home run. I'm just saying. So what's the track record of the leadership? What's their character, their heart, their nature? But really important, what is their vision? What are they trying to do? Having started whatever company you're with, you need to understand that. It needs to line up with what you're wanting out of your current opportunity, right? And obviously track record speaks for itself. The next thing is you have to have access to products that are unique, that are exclusive, revolutionary, cutting edge, disruptive, proprietary, backed by some validity, like some science. You have to have something in the marketplace that I always call it 3 criteria. It's unique, exclusive, disruptive. That's one of them. The next one is it's something that people can afford. And the third one is it's something that people can legitimately use to improve their quality of life. If your current network doesn't check that box, again, you don't have all 5 of the necessary ingredients for the recipe for big success. The next one is timing. If you're in an opportunity that's already 20 years old, you don't have a great opportunity for yourself. I'm not saying the company isn't great. I'm not saying the products or services aren't great, but it's exponentially harder for you to move the needle for your family to become one of those top earners. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done. You just need to be prepared to outwork everybody by a factor of 10x. Just to get level playing field results. If you're in a 20-year-old business opportunity and you look on the stage and you see people that have been coming across that same stage for the last 10 years, and
nobody knew,
and you think you're going to get there, you better be willing to work 10 times harder than that person did to get those same results 10 years ago. Timing is so significant, folks. And again, I'm not knocking a company that's got a 20-year-old track record. They obviously are doing things right. They obviously do have great products, but your individual timing as a participant, if you're just getting rolling, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to get the same kind of results that you're seeing the top earners get, especially if you don't already have a massive sphere of influence. So just keep that in mind. The 4th thing we already kind of said was a comp plan. And then the 5th thing is there's got to be a cause that's bigger than just making money. And so if you are in an opportunity right now and all they talk about is making money and doing business and parading people across the stage with life-size or bigger than life checks, like a cardboard check that's like 3 feet high and 6 feet long, right? If there's not something at the heartbeat of that organization that's even bigger than those big checks, you don't have a long-term opportunity. What's up, bud? Judge's son's waving to us. That was cool. So just keep that in mind as well. So those are the 5 things. So folks, not all opportunities are created equal. You got to understand that. And if you are in what we call a 5-star opportunity, and if you're part of our community, and you're going out there talking products, you're literally shooting yourself in the foot. The only story you should be telling if you're in our community, or if you actually are in something that has all 5 of the components we talked about, is it's the combination of those 5 components together that creates the one and only story you tell. If you're going out there just talking product or just talking comp plan or just talking any of the individual components about the entire story, you're missing out. You're gonna limit your results.
Let's talk about advertising for a minute, because this kind of goes along in that story. So, if you think about, say, the credit card companies, they are constantly talking about you deserve. They're talking about the benefits of having that extra cash, right? but they're not talking about the features, right? Because their features kind of stink. You know, their features are you're going to go into debt and you're going to pay an ungodly amount of interest, but the benefits for all of that is well worth the trade-off. Well, when we are only talking about the product, the thing that comes across to our prospect is you're trying to get into my wallet. But when you are talking about the opportunity of having a more than full-time income on a part-time effort, then you are addressing a benefit. We need to get exceptional at addressing the benefit. McDonald's doesn't go around talking about the product to their franchise owners. They talk about the benefit of being the franchise owner. So we need to change how we address our opportunity. We have an opportunity. Let's talk about all the benefits of the opportunity. Because when you talk about the benefits, then they will understand that they have to trade some of their current habits in order to achieve those benefits. Those benefits are earned. They are not deserved, because the credit card companies are lying to you when they say it was deserved. No. You earned those benefits by paying high interest and going into debt bondage, okay?
Man, we could park here for like an entire another hour, but we're not going to do that. It's already been an hour, and so we're going to try to dial this thing in and wrap it up. But seriously, I love the McDonald's example. Like, do you think somebody goes to McDonald's Corporation and says, I want to buy a franchise as long as the quarter pounder works for me? I mean, works for you to do what? Like, kill you before you can scratch the check to buy the franchise? I mean, I'm just saying, understand the difference between products within the system and the system as a whole, right? And so many people, this is the thing that has hindered this industry more than any other thing, is nobody was taught how to fundamentally
break down the mechanics,
acquire the vocabulary of business. And so everybody's sent out there. Most people that join a network marketing opportunity get sent out there to do what we call product pimping. And that's why everybody runs from you. And that's why everybody thinks this is a pyramid scheme. That's why everybody thinks, like Jolene said, that somebody wants to get in my wallet. Well, yeah, of course that's what they think, because that's all you're approaching them with. Understand what you have your hands on is a system. The products are only one component of it. You know, again, we're not going to spend any more time on this, but it's really, really important that you embrace what we're talking about. And the last thing I want to say is kind of the sub bullet here that you guys need to see is that facts and figures tell, but stories sell. And so in whatever opportunity you're in, you need to learn to tell the story of your opportunity, not rattle off a bunch of facts. Our comp plan pays out 62%. That's not a story. That's a fact. It doesn't resonate.
The benefit of our comp plan is full-time income, part-time effort.
That's right. And so our elevator pitch, just so you guys know, so Jolene and I have recently relocated all the way across the country. We spent our entire lives in California. We've now been in Nashville for 6 months. Here's the problem. When we moved to Nashville, the only people we knew were already on our team. They were already in our business. We knew nobody, not one single person, but yet we have the intent to continue growing our business. And part of this is cool because I think that maybe the Lord's going to utilize the fact that we moved out here to show you that you can do it in any market. And it's not about your warm market. You're going to develop some skills that allow you to go into a cold market environment and build a warm market. So what do? Well, we find ways to start establishing new relationships. One of the things that we've been doing is going to meetup groups. And it's taken a lot of time. It took about a month and a half of Jolene going 4 times a week, 5 times a week to figure out which groups were conducive.
Sometimes 6.
We had to figure out a way to weed through the groups and find the ones that were going to be the best fit for us. And now we've done that. And we're starting to really be able to pull some beautiful fish out of that pond, or those couple of ponds that we're fishing out of. And we've enrolled now, we've been out here 6 months, and I think we've enrolled 6 people. So we're still averaging 1 a month. Our goal is 2 a week.
1 a week, yeah.
2 a week.
2 a week.
But now our pipeline is full. So you're going to start to see us announcing a lot of new personally sponsored people. But what do we do when we go to these meetup groups? What's our elevator pitch? Do you guys want to hear it? Let me see some nods if you guys want to hear it. So when we go to these networking groups, everybody gets their 10-second elevator pitch. We go around the room. You say your name, who you are and what you're looking for. And so this is how it goes. Hey, everybody, my name's Ryan Doktorczyk. And 10 years ago, we were so fortunate that we ended up in relationship with a group of people that taught us how to have a full-time income on a part-time basis. And now we're here trying to help other people get the same results that we've been blessed with. So we're looking for people that might enjoy the ability to have a full-time income on a part-time basis.
Now, would you like to hear mine? Hi, my name is Jolene Doktorczyk. Yes, I am a professional network marketer. But before you roll your eyeballs, I want to talk to you about the mechanics of this industry. Most people walk around trying to be a product pimp, but when people understand the fundamentals of an invisible franchise where they can earn money while they sleep, then they take a different look at the industry. So if you would like to have more than a full-time income on a part-time effort, we should chat.
So there you go. That was about 10 seconds each. But do you understand what we're talking about when we say facts and figures tell and stories sell? We don't need to say the name of our company. We don't need to be talking about informational things that people aren't going to relate to, right? You want to be talking in the context of the solution, of the benefits, right? And so anyway, facts and figures tell, stories sell. That's important that you guys make that part of your vocabulary. So not all opportunities are created equal. Here's the other thing that was crucial for Jolene and I, especially the first time we went diamond. You know, we'd gotten into a really saturated situation the first time we went diamond. We didn't have timing on our side. And so we did have to work 10 times harder. And
we were distributor number 1.2 million with 7 black diamonds in a 40-mile radius.
That means 7 people that were earning an income of over 7 figures per year. That means
big businesses.
That market was pretty well saturated, but we wanted it bad enough that we were willing to outwork enough other people that we still got it done. But one of the things it required for us to do is to not let people off the hook, because if 8 out of 10 people we already knew had already heard of our particular opportunity back then, and the other 2 had probably already heard of network marketing, we had to make sure that at least the other 2 didn't just quickly dismiss the idea that if you've heard of one, you've heard them all. And that's what we're trying to get at with the second point, you guys. That's one of the things that's led to our track record, is that we don't just let people dismiss what we can share with them on the idea that, oh, that's network marketing. Yeah, I've heard of that before. No, actually you haven't. You haven't heard of that before, because there's only one Dallin Larson, and unless you know him, you don't know what we're doing. You haven't heard of that before because there's a formula that requires 5 things, and I'm guessing nobody's ever told you what it is. So no, you haven't heard of what we have to share with you before. So it's really, really imperative that you guys embrace the fact that not all opportunities are created equal. And when you've got your hands on the right opportunity with the right 5 components, don't let people just quickly categorize your opportunity as being, if I've heard one, I've heard them all, because that's not true.
And the other thing that we did, you know, it's funny now, the trend really is talking about the mechanics of this industry, because it's a widely accepted thing now because of the internet and the way that we do business now. Now having a laptop lifestyle is very attractive. It's becoming a very normal thing. And when Ryan and I were building 10 years ago, we specifically targeted who we wanted to be in business, right? When countless people came to us with product in hand, with that sexy bottle in hand, and says, oh my gosh, this is amazing for your health, we said no, 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 because they wanted it in my wallet. So we went out and did it the way that we were approached.
Man, let me jump in on this real quick too. Here's the thing why we're so adamant and so passionate about helping you guys not get sucked into the product pimping approach. If anybody was going to be super inclined about a product approach, it was us. We are literally the walking epitome of health. We don't miss a day in the gym. We've had a wellness lifestyle for, seriously, like our kids are championship gymnasts. We live the wellness lifestyle, but yet when 3 people before the 4th guy who won the prize, when 3 people came to us 10 years ago with the same company, the same opportunity, the same bottle of juice, and all they wanted to talk about was a bottle of juice, we said no. And it's not that we weren't the right target for someone. They knew we were wellness oriented. They just, all you got to do is know a little bit about us, and you knew we were in the gym every day. We eat clean. We were passionate about taking care of our kids and equipping them to be champion level gymnasts. we were those people, but yet we had no interest in schlepping product, being a product pimp, or giving somebody some money to try a product that they didn't even tell us that there was a business opportunity attached. So,
and it wasn't until the guy said there was a business that we said yes. So what did we do when we started building? We went to business owners. We went to people exactly like ourselves, people who owned small business quadrant people, people who were already wanting to win, who already wanted to dictate their life, but they didn't realize they fell into the box that bought them a job. And we saved them and brought them into the big business quadrant.
The S quadrant's the best place for you guys to be targeted in your prospecting. Why? Because they had enough initiative to step out from being employees. They're willing to take some risk. They have some vision. They have some guts, but yet they're still stuck trading hours for dollars. They have no leverage. In most cases, they have probably significant debt. They used leverage to get into their business, but they don't get the benefit of leverage. They're giving away their leverage because they oftentimes have financing on equipment, on things like that. But S quadrant people that earn their livelihood in the S quadrant, that's where you can build a big business fast. Go find your realtors, your insurance salesmen, your people that work at your car salesmen, quite frankly, people that work on commission. They're people that have made the leap. They stepped out in faith. And so they had enough guts to step out and take a chance, but they're stuck in an environment that still limits their outcome to trading time for money, and they're not going to get the results that they want. So that's a little hint for you.
And here's something else. Here's another hint, because everyone says, well, if I could just find other people who already are in network marketing. Guys, we don't need a team of recycled network marketers. When you build a team on recycled network marketers, you have people who are here for the hype and the shiny object, and then as soon as they think the timing is gone, they're gone. We want people to stay with us because they like doing business with us, because they understand the mechanics, and they're here for the long haul. So go find some people that you want to actually do life with instead of trying to find the hot person in the other network marketing company. Just go find people who want to have a better life. Stop fishing exclusively for recycled network marketers.
So last but not least, field leadership, track record matters. That's the other thing that, has been one of the keys to our success, and it's going to be a key to everybody's success. You need mentors. You need to be in alignment and have access to people that this is not their first rodeo. We talked about it at the corporate level, but now we're talking about it at the field level. You need to have access to people in your quote support line, your upline, whatever you want to call it, that it's also not their first rodeo. You need, if you really genuinely want to have a life-changing financial outcome to your participation in network marketing, and you don't have immediate access to somebody who's made multiple 6 or 7 figure earners, you might not be in the right opportunity. It's just a fact. Oftentimes, the reason we say people don't get the results they want in this business is because they become product pimps. Well, how did they become product pimps? Because it's like the blind leading the blind. They got involved in network marketing with somebody who, maybe it was their neighbor, and their neighbor got involved from their coworker. Their coworker got involved from their hairdresser. Their hairdresser got involved from another hairdresser. That hairdresser got involved from their cousin. The cousin got involved from a coworker. And you look at this, what we call line of sponsorship, and nobody's ever made any money in a business like this. And yet you've got one of them taking advice from the other, taking advice from the other, and none of them have access on speed dial to somebody who's actually made 6 or 7 figures, who understands how to build this kind of a business. And so the field leadership track record matters. That's kind of one of those things where, we have to admit we were just blessed. We were very, very blessed that when we needed this to work, God knew how desperate we were, and he put us into a line of sponsorship of people that had real track records. But that matters. And so for those of you that are part of this community, you've got this. For people that might be on here today, listen, there's a reason why we had that bullet point on the previous slide, that it's about the destination, not the vehicle. Our last parting shot that we'll leave you with is that you didn't choose to build a business on products alone. We get that all the time. I love asking people, when I do happen to come across other network marketers, what is it that intrigued them to build a business? Because how do I know you're a distributor if you're not building a business. You went and put the moniker distributor on your business card or on your Facebook or on your LinkedIn or wherever I'm connecting with you, because you chose to build a business. And I go, so what intrigued you to build a business? And they go, the product. And I go, nope, that's not, time out, that's not me.
Let's re-examine that.
Right. And so I go, right, but if you were only stoked on the product, you'd be a customer, and it wouldn't say anything on your business card or your Facebook profile or your LinkedIn profile about you being a distributor. So let's try this again. Why did you choose to build a business, right? And, you know, it's funny because a lot of times people get so hung up on the vehicle instead of the destination. You chose to build a business because you saw the potential of getting an outcome from a lifestyle standpoint. Maybe it was get out of debt. Maybe it was buy that first home. Maybe it was pay for your kids' college. Maybe it was just not have to work as many hours of overtime. Or maybe it was the people walking across the stage like it was for us, where it was like, oh, if they can do it, we can do it. We're looking at an income disclosure statement 10 years ago and going, oh, heck no, that person is not making 200 grand a year. We're going there, right? But whatever the case may be, don't be so married to your current vehicle that you ignore the destination. You got into that current vehicle because there was a destination you were aiming at. That's what it's all about. And so just understand that if you're not in a 5-star situation, and you really care about your destination, it may be time to start looking for a vehicle that's more equipped, better suited to get you to where you originally know in your heart, whether you're willing to admit it to other people or not. You go search your own heart. You can lie to others, but you can't lie to yourself. I don't mean that derogatorily. I'm just saying, like, it's easy for us to say it was the products to other people because that's a more comfortable thing to say. But in your heart, in your own heart, you know you were hoping for something. And if you're not in a vehicle that's deserving of your best, because the vehicle doesn't have all 5 of the must-have components, right? Like, again, maybe they have been around 30 years and the odds are stacked highly against you from getting the kind of outcome that you know your heart desires, then just be open-minded enough to start looking at what other vehicles might be out there.
And I have good news for you. If you're currently in another opportunity and you do completely love those products, but the vehicle isn't panning out for you, you can still be a customer of those products. We have products from other network marketing companies in our house. That's right. You heard me correctly. We have other products from other companies in our house, but they are not the best vehicle. And if we're going to put in the same amount of work, the same amount of effort, I want to be in the vehicle that is going to get me to my destination.
We're on auto ship, in fact, with multiple other network marketing companies. But
and from Amazon too.
But you'll never know that because we're not building their business, because they didn't have a business model that was worthy of our very best. We needed to be in the right business model that was going to deserve our great products by themselves. Don't make a great business opportunity. All right. And so anyway, guys and gals, listen, here's what we'd love to ask all of you to do. If you got value out of this today, please go back to the Facebook post and leave a comment and just tell us what your takeaways were, and bless the other people that might not have shown up today. A lot of you I saw taking notes. Please go put maybe some of your bullet points in the comments from the Facebook post where we originally talked about the fact that we were going to do this Zoom talk today. Put your comments in there. If you have questions, put your questions in there as well in the comments. So go add a new comment, put your questions, put your takeaways, put your ahas, put what you like best, and we'll continue to interact with you guys that way. And then here's the other thing I'd like to ask you guys. If there are certain topics that you'd like us to cover, if you feel like this venue has value to you guys or for your teams, and there's certain things you'd like us to delve more deeply into, then you can also add that to the comments on that Facebook string. Ask us, hey, we'd love for you guys to do a training about the cash flow quadrant. I want to understand that better. We'd love for you to do a training on, how to start conversations in cold market prospecting. We'd love to have you do a training on overcoming objections. Whatever we can do to serve you guys, that's what we're here for. And so if you have certain training topics that you feel like you'd love us to maybe dig a little deeper into, also add that to that Facebook post. Don't text us. Those get hard to keep up with. The cool thing about Facebook is we share a Facebook account, and so we get leverage. Everything we do is about leverage. And so
one to many.
Jolene and I can leverage each other and work together on that. So we appreciate you guys spending time on here today. We know that time is your most precious commodity, so we hope this really did add value to you guys. We hope that you feel like you got some growth out of it and that you got some additional equipping to go out and move towards your dreams. Guys, listen, you can do this. Seriously, there's nothing that you're lacking to go build as big of a business you want and live your dreams. Plug into the things we covered today, right? Go through the 3 keys that we covered today. Again, I know you took notes. Go through the 3 keys, revisit these 3 keys, implement, right? The 3 keys.
Implement.
And the sky's the limit for you guys. So with that, just know this. You guys are always in our prayers. We believe in you. We're grateful for you. We love you. God bless you guys. Make it a great weekend. And we're going to go ahead and end.
Get your calendar booked out.
All right. Bye, everybody.